Hello. So today I wanted to have a look at the new version of our parent POM and bring some new static analysis rules that I disagree with. And so we'll look into why I disagree with them and how we can disable them for all of our projects. My goal here is I think static analysis should be something that gets triggered when there is actually something that needs to be fixed. If we have too many rules and rules that we disagree with too often, then we start to learn to ignore those rules, and that's counterproductive. So we have this new parent POM. There's a new version of it, and for strange reasons, the configuration or this POM is configuring like what tools we run. But there is a different project that is called Maven tools config, which contains the configuration for all of our rules. So that's the starting point. I have a new version of this that I was testing on a specific project, and there's this new Spotbug rules about CT constructor throws. Let's just have a look at what this rule is. If I search, yeah, I probably have it here. Yes, it's telling me that classes that throw exception in their constructors are vulnerable to finalizer attacks. And basically that means we can have a class that's half initialized and then the finalizer doesn't necessarily run. And as a security concern, like I really don't care about that. I think that rule has some value. Like usually we should not do work in a constructor, and so we should not have things failing in the constructor. But there are enough exceptions to this. So let's have a look at the project I was looking at. It triggers on things like this, where I'm creating a new component that might fail when it gets created in the constructor. We could argue that this should really be created outside of this constructor and injected in it. But that's a pattern that happens often enough, and I do have a few others like this. Here, like we're parsing some configuration from an input stream, and if the configuration is null, that's invalid, so we're checking the inputs. Again, we could argue that this should be done outside of the constructor, but yeah, it makes sense to have at least like null checks on our values, and so throwing illegal argument exception, null pointer exception in our constructor, like there's enough places where that makes sense. So I don't like that rule. If I want to remove that rule, I have this WMF Maven tool config projects, and if we go down in there, we have some complex and directory structure, and we end up with the Spotbug excludes. I'm gonna write a new rule, a new exclude. So I'm gonna match a bug pattern that's called, let's copy paste that to be sure. Okay, and let's add a comment telling why we don't like that rule. While it okay. So I have that new rule at the moment. So this is the version of that Maven tool configs is 135 snapshot, which means when I'm going to release that, it's going to create the 1.35 version. I need to also update my parent POM. At the moment, there's a property here telling me that this is using version 1.34. It will need to be upgraded to 135. And when I release all that, then I can go back to my initial project, see the main POM here, and use the new version of that parent POM, and that rule will then be ignored everywhere. That's all for today. Have fun.